Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how I made my polymer clay pins, which are shaped like little bears with Christmas jumpers on. I've shared these on my Instagram as well as on my Etsy shop. They sold out almost immediately, which I totally wasn't expecting. I did plan to have this video up when they kind of went live on my store, but I got a little bit shy and I didn't want to be on camera. So I'm here today with that video on how I made them and just the processes that I use when I make my polymer clay pins. Now I usually don't use little cutters, but this time I actually found these little bear like cookie cutters in a local store of mine. They were all sold individually and had all sorts of sizes, so I chose one that was like really teeny tiny. It was like 2 centimeters, and then like a slightly bigger one around about 3 centimeters, and I thought that they would be a brilliant kind of way to cut the clay out. I've seen this technique being used on Paloma the Peach. I think it was Paloma the Peach. I think it was, I'm pretty sure, where she made clay pins and then she used those. I thought it was absolutely genius because I usually sculpt mine completely by hand. I just prefer it this way. They're obviously all one of a kind, but it does take a really long time. But I thought these little bears would be fun to experiment with, and I really like the process of using them, and I was able to paint them all up and add little bits onto them to make them all individual, and I just really liked it. But yeah, that's why I made these little bear pins. So like I said, I did put them on my Instagram and they sold out almost instantly. So if you want to see behind the scenes of videos, crafts and stuff that I'm up to when I'm not so much posting on YouTube, then be sure to follow me over on Instagram. I did of course put them on my Etsy shop, which actually something tomorrow is going to be my last day of shipping to the UK, so if you're looking to place like an order with some of my stuff for like say Christmas time, then today and kind of tomorrow is going to be your last shipping day for the UK. I've already stopped international orders. A few people have sent me over messages asking me why they can't order in their country. It's just because I stopped international shopping, just to kind of avoid any confusion with people maybe ordering this week and then they won't get it in time for Christmas where they might expect to. For example, I don't want any accidental orders kind of flowing through, and I will be shutting my shop completely after tomorrow all the way up until I reopen with my first shop update for January. I'm thinking it's going to be either mid to late January, so it's going to be shut for quite a little while. So if there's anything you wanted on there, no pressure anything, I just wanted to give you a heads up for that. So yeah, today's video is all about how I made my polymer clay bear pins as well as the packaging as well. I put that in this video too, so yeah, hopefully you enjoy watching it. So obviously to make the clay pins I needed a polymer clay, and the polymer clay that I like to use is by the brand Fimo in the colour. It's usually got 2 names, like sometimes they put a sticker over it. One of them sometimes is called Flesh and then sometimes it's called Rose. Like it's the exact same one but they put like a sticker over it sometimes. It's really peculiar, but I'll leave a link down to that in the description because I always buy it from Amazon, because here in the UK it seems to be the cheapest place to get it all the time. Like even when it's even more expensive on Amazon, it's still cheaper than in the stores, so I'll leave that link down in the description. So like I said, I also use these cutters. I did actually buy them from a local store to me who sold them individually, so I was able to get like the sizes and stuff that I like, but I'm sure you could find something similar on the internet or just find whatever shapes that you would like to use. So I just cut out my clay after rolling it around about 5mm thick. I rolled it out with a pen because I don't have a rolling pin. I do actually intend to buy one very soon, so you know, I'm finally going to have one and stop using pens. But I just placed them all on a parchment piece of paper and then just baked it in the oven for around about half an hour. Once all of the shapes were out and cooled down, I then attached them to ceramic tiles with some blue tack, so I was able to paint all around them. This is something that I like to do and have done over and over again, as I'm sure you can tell by the amount of paint that is on my tiles. I only realised how kind of like covered in paint these were until watching this back. I was like, wow, I really need to buy some new ones as well as a rolling pin. So they are on my shopping list for this weekend. So painting wise, I'm actually just using acrylic paint. I like to use really thin layers, as thin as I can kind of get it and build it up, because I think that creates the best bond between the clay and the paint. The paint brands that I usually use are PVO Studio Acrylics, or I have recently been using the Arteza Premium acrylic paints, which again I will leave link down below for you. These acrylic paints were gifted to me, but they are so good, and if you are a beginner who needs a whole load of new paints, then this set is really affordable and gives you a great range of colours, so I will leave that down in the description for you as well. I am using a variety of different brushes. Some of them are nail art brushes, some of them are just ordinary paint brushes. I find nail art brushes to be really handy when painting small little details on like this, so check out your cheaper stores such as like Poundland, Home Bargains, maybe even eBay for this. You will save yourself so much money and time trying to look for little tiny paintbrushes. But yeah, that's what I used, and that's my biggest tip there. Like I said, I use small, kind of really thin layers of acrylic, leaving it to dry in between each layer so that it all builds up a nice opaque finish. With the little paintbrushes, I did go back in and paint all the details, such as the noses, which I made 3D with the clay, little bits like the little heart there, which I made 3D with the clay, and I also made some bow ties on some of them. I made some scarves on some of them, like 3D and stuff, so that made them stand out a little bit better. For the noses, which I painted white and made them a bit bigger, I ended up painting on a little nose and a mouth in that as well. The ones which just had a teeny tiny nose, I just painted black and then painted on some little eyes either side of kind of the noses, as well as tiny little mouths. So this here actually took me, I looked at the footage, I had 6 hours worth of footage of me just painting little bears. I painted 12 in total, and yeah, they all are completely different. I just sat down with a movie on, and oh no, it wasn't a movie, I watched the TV program Dash and Lily on Netflix, really enjoyed it, and I just painted away and had a really fun time. So yeah, if you're doing this, then be sure to put on a TV program or a movie. You're probably going to be here for quite some time if you're doing multiple, but to be honest, it would be kind of fun if you did. Like, these can make great gifts for people for Christmas, and yeah, I just love them. So once I had all of the bigger bears painted up, I actually went in and just did the same thing with these little ones. As you can see here, these are so much tinier. The painting on these ones took a little bit longer because obviously I had to concentrate trying to get everything nice and tiny, but I managed to with the teeny tiny brushes that I had, and I'm just so happy. They're so small and so cute, and I just adore them so much. So for glazing wise and, you know, securing in all of that paint and stuff, and for protecting the clay, I use UV resin. Now what I like to do is I like to glaze the front part of the bears where all of that detail is first before painting the backs. Once it's all glazed, I then stick them over on the blue tack again, and then I just paint the backs in like this solid colour, wait for that to dry, and attach the pins. Once the pins are attached, I usually try and use a really strong glue, like 6000, or a really strong like 2-bond parting system like super glue, just to make sure they're really on there. And then I like that to all set down. So as you can see here, I'm applying the glue to the pin backs themselves, adding the pin back onto them. I used 2 on the bigger bears and then 1 on the little bears, just adding them on. And then once that is kind of dry and set, I then go back in and glaze the back so that the UV resin is also securing the pin down as well, so it gets like a double kind of securing down. I like to paint on the UV resin using a paintbrush with glitter mixed in, and then just cure that, and I usually do around about 3 layers in total. So for the packaging, I just went onto my iPad using what is the app called? Procreate. Oh my goodness, I've had a mind blank. I think it's Procreate, right? And I just used my Apple Pencil just to write out a little tiny bear for you, and I just fiddled around with that, just changed it up a little bit until I was happy, and then just printed it off on my printer and then cut them out. So I changed the wording a little bit for a blue one and changed the colours around for a pink one, so that I had one for like tiny bears and one for little bears. So the little bears are going to be the slightly bigger one, and then the tiny bears are obviously the teeny tiny ones. The little bears I put on a blue card, and then the tiny bears I put on a pink tone card. To assemble them onto their backing cards, what I like to do is use a washi tape, put the card onto the washi tape and press the pin back like down through into the hole of the washi tape, and then attach the little kind of metal clasp onto the back. I then like to take a cello bag and put them inside of that, also adding in some rubber pin backs as well, because I know some people like to use the metal ones, some people like to use the rubber ones. So I decided to invest in a whole load of rubber pin backs as well, and added them free with every single pin order rather than charge an extra. I thought it's really fun to have the two kind of options there, and I do this with pretty much all of my pins as and when I can. So once they're all sealed up and, you know, ready to go, I then listed them onto my Etsy shop, told everybody about them on Instagram, and then they pretty much sold out instantly. But I absolutely in love with how they have turned out. So these ones here are my absolute favorite, these ones here with the tiny bears. So let me know if you are one of the people who adopted one of these ones. The little small bears here, these ones here were my favorite, the snowflake sort of one, as well as the one with the little scarf around the neck. And then comparing the two, I have the small bear as well as the tiny bear together, and you can really see how small the teeny tiny one is here. And that is the end of today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to anybody who has adopted one of the little bears. I hope they're happy in their new homes. Thank you to anyone who has been ordering off my store, for example, all of that, anything, people over on Instagram, just everywhere. Thank you so much. I feel so grateful. So yeah, hopefully you will have a fantastic weekend ahead, a fantastic end to your week, and I will see you very soon for another video.